Finally, we got an absolutely cracking week in KFC SuperCoach. Huge scores everywhere. Hopefully you cashed in. Let's look at who was hot and who was cold in round 10. Zach Butters kicked off the round with an unbelievable performance on Friday night against the Demons. 184 KFC SuperCoach points, the highest score of the round, 41 disposals and at 78% efficiency. Given the conditions, that was pretty impressive. 18 contested, which we know the KFC SuperCoach scorers love. 2 goals as well, so just did everything right, Zach, to pump up his KFC SuperCoach numbers. We know he's the kind of guy who can score really well. He's got dual position. He's shot up in price to 620k, so I don't think you can really afford him if you don't have him. If you've got him, fantastic pick. We've always been a little bit worried about maybe his injuries, so hopefully he can stay injury-free and keep pumping up scores like this. I was at the Dreamtime game at the MCG on Saturday night. Fantastic spectacle, as it is every year. And Zach Merritt put on an absolute clinic against the Tigers. He's always had a good record against them. I think 5 games in a row, over 30 disposals coming into this one. So I thought he'd be pretty good. But 39 disposals, 7 tackles as well, including that rundown on Dusty near the end, which just about won the game for the Bombers. 162 points. I know a lot of people were looking to trade him in last week. I hope you did, because that is a sensational result. And he's got West Coast and North Melbourne in his next 2 games. So could be some more big scores coming for Zach. Plenty of contenders for the final slot in hot this week. Jack Sinclair was fantastic against the Giants yesterday after a couple of down games. Josh Dunkley, huge again. Bailey Humphrey, what another great game from him. And Sam Doherty is back for the Blues, but I'm going to give it to Josh Weddle. A lot of people who've got him might have put him on the field hoping to get maybe 60 points out of a rookie. He had about that at quarter time. He was fantastic for the Hawks. Obviously a massive win for them, and he really cashed in. 28 disposals, 2 goals, so forget about this lockdown defender stuff that we might have been worried about. And so as well as getting those 114 points on the field, he's also gone up 62 grand as well, so he's going to deliver a nice cash injection when it comes around to Hawthorn's bye in round 14. Could be the perfect time to trade him out and you'll get a really good return. So fantastic result if you picked Josh Weddle and if you put him on the field this week. Who was cold in round 10. Now, not as many candidates this week, which is a nice change from what we've had for most of this season. But I'm going to start with the Friday night game and Max Gawn up against the Power. I thought he'd be in for a monster game. Rucks have been scoring really big against Bryn Teakle, but Ken Hinkley probably had the same thought as me, and he dropped Teakle and brought in Scott Lysette, and he played his best game for the year by an absolute mile. Beat Gawn and Grundy, restricted Gawn to just the 74 points. He's gone up in value by $600, and he's got a break-even of 129 this week. So he's going to be very affordable if he does get that dual position status in a couple of weeks. But it's going to be a really interesting debate. You know, do we think he's probably not going to be in the top 2 or 3 rucks, I wouldn't say at all, for the season. But will he qualify for the top 6 or 8 forwards? Could you put him in your forward line? Be very handy ruck cover. But, you know, you'd be wanting more than 74 points out of Maxi every week. We know he can do it. Maybe that was just a one-off. Nearly every Hawthorn player cashed in with a big score against the Eagles yesterday in that huge win, but unfortunately, if you've got Will Day, he wasn't one of them. Just the 74 points. The Eagles sent Xavier O'Neill to him. He's been doing some tagging run with roles in the last few weeks, so that's something to watch when we look at who the Eagles are playing each week. Maybe a Zach Merritt coming in round 11. But Will Day, I mean, he's still got 24 disposals, but just the 74 points, so not really what you want if you think he's going to be a premium, you know, top 8 sort of keeper in the defence, maybe. Probably not the midfield. Handy to have that DPP, but he's one that we maybe just keep an eye on him. I wouldn't be trading him out straight away, but maybe around the buys, he could be one that we could look to flip if he doesn't lift his output in that time. And the final cold spot goes to some rookies. I mentioned Josh Weddle, he was fantastic, and there were some good rookie scores around this weekend, but there were some really low ones as well, unfortunately. If you brought in Blake Drury, like me, just the 12 points. Harry Sharp, I brought him in. He only scored 47. Both those guys were subbed off. I thought Sharp was a bit stiff. Sam Simpson, if you've been hoping he'll give you some money and a decent on-field score from the Cats, just the 20. But Drury was the real painful one. He's 112,000, which is a really unusual price. You don't see players at that price very often. That's because he just went up the 10 grand from his 102k starting price, and he's got a break-even of 35 this week, which based on the last 2 games, he might struggle to get that, and that's if he stays in the team. We really need him to stay there to give us that extra body during the buys, some cover. I mean, if he can make some money, that'd be good too, but, you know, we'd really just take anything from Blake at this stage.